I say we jump right into it. Nate, you're quiet. What's going on?
Just listening, man.
We got, Nate and Karlos back on again. You know what that means.
Getting warmed up. I'm saving my energy.
Yeah,
it's going to be a long episode.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Nate.
Here we go.
Already.
Hey guys, it's Terrence Nan. You're listening to Hear the Spear, presented by Noel Game Day. Go Noles.
Hey, what's up? This is Peter Ward, a.k.a. E-Dub, in the house. So we're listening to Hear the Spear, presented by Noel Game Day. Go live, go Noles.
Hi, this is Charlie Ward, and you're listening to Hear the Spear, Go Noles.
This is Terrell Buckley. You're listening to Hear the Spear, presented by Noel Game Day. No Bloody.
But perhaps better known as the greatest corner to ever step on a football field, Deion Primetime Sanders.
Great Deion Sanders, my brother. What's going on, man? I could wake up to that greeting every day, man. That was awesome.
Hello, Noles fans. This is former Seminole Derek Brooks, and you're listening to Hear the Spear, presented to you by Noel Game Day.
James Wilder Jr. What's going on, James?
Thanks for having me on. SSOD, Florida State or Die, and go Noles.
William Bar None Floyd.
Gentlemen, what's up?
What is happening, guys? This is Logan Robinson from Hear the Spear, presented to you by Noel Game Day. It is Thursday evening, December 3rd. We're already in December, sweet Jesus. But we have the whole crew back. The whole crew back is with us tonight. We don't have a game to preview football-wise, but we have a basketball game to recap after last night's Florida State's win over UNF. Over on the football side of things, we got a lot to talk about. Transfers, potential transfers, guys opting out, also a schedule change in Florida State's future here, their next opponents, and we got a lot of basketball to talk about too. So a busy, packed podcast, and we got the whole crew. The whole crew is back with us after the Thanksgiving holidays. With me tonight, right down below, is Austin Veazey, our lead basketball writer. The very bottom there is Karlos Williams, 2013 national champion. D-Lou is back with us in the house, baby. Our lead writer and editor, Dustin Lewis. And then up at the top next to me is Nate Greer, our lead recruiting insider. Woo! Man, that's long. But good evening, everybody.
Titles.
We're back. There's a lot of titles. I mean, that 2013 national champion one might be better than Dustin's, but I mean,
I don't know. Stretch.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
What's going on, gentlemen? Did you have a good Thanksgiving with the family?
Awesome.
Yeah, that answers it. Just a long silence. That answers it.
Love seeing the fam.
Just, I mean, what do you want us to say? Like we just ate. I mean, I think that's kind of what took place.
For guys, I think it's just that. That's all it is.
Yeah, I just ate and watched basketball. That's all I did.
That's all you can do.
And some bad NFL football.
Yeah, we should have had a Steelers game that night, but my whole Thanksgiving was ruined after that. I'll say it. I mean, hopefully none of my family is watching this, but my Thanksgiving was ruined.
At least you had a great Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah. I don't even want to know if I want to call that great. I don't know what I was watching.
Whoa.
What?
W, baby.
I mean, it's a dub. It's a dub. It's still an NFL game, but actually seeing Bud Dupree get hurt actually.
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough.
Yeah. No, we got some NFL to talk about too with Knowles in there. So I say we jump right into it. Nate, you're quiet. What's going on?
Just listening, man.
We got Nate and Karlos back on again. You know what that means.
Getting warmed up. I'm saving my energy.
Yeah,
it's going to be a long episode.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Nate.
Here we go.
Already. Oh, man. We got to make shirts. All right, so let's jump right into it. Obviously, the biggest there's a lot going on, but the biggest one so far, Florida State is going to try to play 2 more games to end off this season. The first opponent is going to be on the 12th against Duke at home. Obviously, Florida State was supposed to go to Duke, but didn't end up happening. They're going to be playing them on the 12th in Doak Campbell Stadium. And then the week after that, Florida State is actually going to travel up to Wake Forest on the 19th and play there. Thoughts on these 2 opponents and Florida State? Should Florida State want to play these 2 games, or should they just have ended the season and called it quits?
I think they need the reps, for a young team. Definitely think they need the reps and to get the practice time. and I think we can all agree the school itself needs the income. So I like it. I think the Wake Forest game is going to be interesting because they can score a lot of points, and we all know about the Florida State defense. So it's going to be an interesting end to the season for FSU.
What about the defense? What's so special with that defense?
I'm saying Wake can put points up on the board, and Florida State cannot put points up on the board and cannot stop anyone. So I think that's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you said, they get not only game reps, but they get practice reps. Get another 2 weeks of practices is only going to help some of these guys.
Yeah, this is a very young team, and like you guys have said, the extra game reps are definitely going to help. And I think it also helps that you're playing Duke and Wake Forest instead of Clemson and Virginia. It's two games that this team is going to have a real chance to compete and possibly win. So we'll see how it shakes out.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we talked about last time we were on. The young guys getting the reps. That's all what it is. I mean, you're going to dig into it deeper about guys leaving, but, I mean, yeah, young guys need these reps. This is like spring practice. You're seeing who's sticking in, who's sticking out. I mean, like, who's going to be here, who's not going to be here, who's going to be a part of the rebuilding, and let those guys develop and get those reps within the system that's going to be here next year.
Mm-hmm. I agree, too. I'm all about playing more games. I'm all about it. Definitely for youngins that are going to get in. There's still some cats that I want to see more of that we haven't seen a ton play. They've been out there, but I want to see Brian Robinson, I think, as a wide receiver that's going to have a really solid career at Florida State. There's a few others, too. I'd like to see even Portier out there at wide receiver. I want to see a full 100% healthy Jordan Travis because I think he's a very skilled guy, definitely running the ball, and I'd like to see him back healthy. So I think there's also going to be a lot of guys that are going to be switching positions. You might see guys that were on defense early this season be playing on offense these next 2 games. So things are going to be interesting. I think Mike Norvell most certainly wants to have these kind of games to be able to throw these young guys out there, see what works, see what you have in these guys. There might be a guy that surprises where you're like, okay, this guy might be a starter heading into the next season. So I will never say no to playing more games, even with how the season is going. And I do think Florida State has a chance to most certainly get a win out of one of these, if not 2. And we'll talk about when we preview them here next week, getting ready for Duke. Let's talk about Luke Altmyer because obviously we've had some pretty strong coverage on him. He actually had a piece that he was doing monthly with us at NoleGameDay.com with Nate. Nate has had a great relationship with Altmyer through his recruiting process and since once he was committed to Florida State. And obviously he has decommitted from the Noles. He committed to Florida State in February. And now it seems like he's already ready to make his next commitment, Nate. And that's expected to be tomorrow around 1 o'clock our time.
Yeah, I think anyone paying attention knows that it's going to be Ole Miss. At the end of the day, the combination of the direction of the offense, we can all say what we want to say about Kiffin, but, he can put points on the board. And his offense, despite how bad their defense has been this year, the offense has looked really good. And then you add in the whole COVID situation. I know people don't want to see it as an excuse, but for Luke getting to Tallahassee, experiencing the city and the town, was very important to him. He had one opportunity to do that, and that was the last day of spring practice before everything was shut down. And people were like, yeah, he could have drove over to Tallahassee and seen it. Yeah, he could have, but, for him, just having that relationship and the conversations, he wanted to experience like the college life of how it is as a student, not going there to watch a game and leaving. He wanted more from that, and he couldn't really get what he needed. So I think in the end, he just stuck to what he knows, and that's staying home in Mississippi. And, the only school, and he mentioned it a few times, and, we had him on the podcast one time, and in his journals that the only school that could possibly flip him would be Ole Miss. That was the school that stayed in contact more than anyone after he committed to Florida State. There was the Alabama talk and all that kind of stuff, but it was always Ole Miss who would be the school that would challenge Florida State, and they put the work in, and it's done now. So, for me, I think it's a huge loss because he is and was the bell cow of the class. We talk a lot about silent commitments and what they are and what they aren't, but he played a pivotal role in those guys who were telling him and Florida State that they were on board. So losing him, optical wise, it sucks. And losing a guy who has played in a Norvell system, his high school coach is a big Norvell fan and has pretty much set his offense to do what Norvell does. So he's ran a Norvell system for 4 years. And for me, it's a guy who would have been a great fit for the offense at a position Florida State hasn't been really good in, and would be 8 years now as you head into the next season. So, it's a loss both perception-wise and what could possibly unfold recruiting-wise and on the field. So now here we go. Now it's time to look at other options and see if they go the transfer route or if they decide to pursue a high school kid late, which I don't really see that happening with what's left on the board or who's uncommitted. And it's going to be hard to get some kid to flip when you can't take a visit and you can't see him in person. All these guys are going to be doing virtual Zoom, in home, or it's different. And I think Karlos could speak on that more than any of us. It's different going actually onto a campus and visiting versus having a Zoom meeting. It's just a different feeling and it's a different experience. So it's going to be interesting to see how things unfold. So,
what is your take on that, Karlos? Imagine if you were back in your day, the only way you could visit would be going through virtually, which you talked on here before and told us that you really enjoyed going on visits and you took the opportunities to go to different places, but you knew Florida State was your home. But how would that affect you with not being able to visit these places and be with the coaches in person?
I can imagine that. I enjoyed going across country. Like, one of my favorite visits was going to USC. Like, I couldn't imagine having to see, oh, look how sunny it is outside tonight, or today, and look how the coastline looks like tonight. I couldn't imagine seeing all those views on through a video screen, or not being able to experience it in person, or not getting to experience Coach Ogeron or the Kiffins, Monty Kiffin, that's huge in football. So it's being able to sit in front of history like that, being able to go in that stadium where Ronnie Lott played as a safety, where I recruited there as, getting just to be there, seeing Troy's jersey hanging up, it was amazing. Whoa, I'm here. No, I couldn't do it on a video screen. That doesn't make me want to go to that school. It's different than feeling that atmosphere.
I could only imagine that would be it. I only got to go to a few visits. It was really to the left side of the bench and the right side of the bench in high school. So I didn't really have a lot of options there.
And Luke had his hand on a lot of recruits, which we shared personally between us as a group and a little bit in the Discord. He had his hand in a lot of guys that Florida State is targeting. So it's just it's going to be a battle for Florida State to kind of save face there a little bit and get guys back on the ship, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Now for the rest of this, we got a couple of quick hitters which are related to transfers and guys leaving opting out. Number one, I think a big one here, but I think much deserved. Cornerback Asante Samuel Jr. has officially opted out for the rest of the season, and he is going to be getting ready for the 2021 NFL Draft. First takes on that.
He was the one player that really showed out all season, that really gave it his all. Like, you saw it every single snap. I'm not mad at him for opting out and wanting to stay healthy for these last two games. There's no reason getting hurt against Duke or Wake Forest when you're going to be at the latest a day 2 pick.
Good for him. I'm happy for him. I think that he did enough this year to be considered a top for a second round target at cornerback. I think if he can go to the combine and really show out, I think he'd interview well. I think if he can go and show that he's fast and that he's athletic, I think that he's going to be one of the top corners in this draft. So I'm really happy for him that he gets to move on, knowing that he busted his ass and he's one of the few dogs that put forth all of his effort the 3 years he was at Florida State.
Yeah, like you guys said, it really felt like he proved all he needed to prove at Florida State, and these last 2 games weren't really going to do much for him and for his NFL stock. So really excited to see what he does at the combine and then into his professional career to just add to what Florida State is doing to be recognized as DBU. So good luck, Asante.
I'm happy for him. I think it's rightly deserved. I don't think anybody should have anything negative to say about this kid as he's choosing not to play his last 2 games. I don't think the combine could hurt him in any aspect. I think we've seen as fast as we're going to see him on the field, which is fast. I don't think a 40 is going to tell us how great of a corner he's going to be. I think the film has told us how great of a corner he's going to be. I think he's a first-round talent. I think his stats this season alone, in a year where every corner in the country is playing on the same playing field, I think that he's proven to be a first-round pick in this upcoming draft. If we're basing off of this year, his total body of work at Florida State has been incredible, in my opinion. I have a lot of respect for him in this play, and I hope to see him do well on the next level.
Yeah, he was. Go ahead, Nate.
Go ahead. I think that all things considered, if things weren't interrupted, I think he's playing his way into a legit threat for the Thorpe Award.
Yes.
Before things got, canceled and messed up, I think that he had a legit chance of being at least a finalist for that award.
Yes.
There aren't many corners in the country that have been better than him this year. I mean, I think you can maybe count on one hand and not use your entire hand to figure out and count who's been better than him this year.
I agree.
Yeah, no, one of the guys that was on the field, and even when I think it was 2 years ago, I got to see him come in as a young guy, and just how his mentality is, and him on the field chirping, and him being able to back it up, and him having that kind of dog mentality that we've been talking about this whole season. Who was going to have that? And Asante Samuel Jr. showed up this season and had tunnel vision and had his eyes on the prize, which was being able to play well enough to where you can have the consideration and talk with a few people and be like, hey, this is a good idea for you to go ahead and prep and get ready for, you're going to put your name out there for early in that 2021 NFL draft. And he's done that. He played phenomenal. Like Karlos said, this year has been great. He's by far one of the best corners in the country this season. Florida State is Florida State as it is right now in the program, so there's not a lot of national attention happening for a lot of guys. But if Florida State was back to where it should be and Asante Samuel Jr. was playing like this, it'd be all over it everywhere. I mean, if you look at, there's some college football Twitters out there and the PFF and everything, they praise him. I mean, the stats that he's put up this season has been great, and I'm really interested to see how he does at the combine. There's some things, maybe his measurements or his height might be a play for him. We've seen that was kind of a thought thing for Greg Reed too. Obviously that both have different kind of paths that they're on, but I think Asante Samuel Jr. just has a really amazing mentality. You wish there'd be more right now in that locker room at FSU, but there just isn't. So best of luck to Asante. Definitely rooting for him. And if he needs to come to Pittsburgh, I will not say no to that, which one mock draft did have one to us in Pittsburgh. I'll take it any day of the week. Here we go. Safety Jaden Lars Woodby has elected to transfer. Guys, a lot of this, if you haven't been in the Discord or become a Patreon yet, I highly suggest doing so. Nate, Jaden Lars Woodby, that might have been one of your guys on your list. He intends on transferring. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, that list has been my bane of my existence. So, but and I think he's done everything right off the field, and I think that he was really good as a freshman. I think his injury set him back significantly. I don't necessarily think he's a fit in what Fuller wants to do defensively. I think he's been a role model student, and I think he's been great for the university. And I think it's an embarrassment for that no GIF Twitter to put some shit out there about him having to apologize to the Tallahassee Police Department. I think that just is a sour taste to a kid who, as he said, he didn't cheat anything. He put forth all of his effort. So, he's just wrong time, wrong place, and I think hopefully he can go back out west, and good luck to you. He graduated in 3 years, so on that.
He's a kid that really wanted to come to Florida State, and you could see it when he was here. He loved the university inside and out. And like Nate said, he was really good his freshman year, and he was good those first few games, especially once he got under Jim Leavitt. Once he was under Jim Leavitt, he was really good. Yeah. And that injury set him back, and it sucks that he couldn't find his way back into running into a good player again. But there shouldn't be anything bad to say about this kid, especially off the field. He really gave it his all when he was at Florida State. I have nothing bad to say about him. And
traveling from across the whole country too. We've seen before with guys that have traveled from across the country.
The only thing bad about him
been on the best behavior
was that absolutely horrible commitment ceremony he had.
that lasted forever.
I will agree.
Like 2.5 hours. Everyone who was anyone that every trainer, every trainer's brother, everyone who taped his ankles, they all had something to say. And that was ridiculous. But otherwise, nothing bad to say.
That's the only hit. I think every outlet or any beat writer or anybody covering recruiting that had to deal with that ceremony, I will never forget that, because we've seen some long ceremonies. Who was the quarterback that took a while? He didn't end up committing to Florida State. Where'd he go? Oh, God, Maryland? Who was it? Who went to Maryland that took forever? FSU was in. It starts with an L. I forget his name. Florida State was in the mix for him anyways. But, yeah, Jaden Lars would be. That ceremony did take forever, but I got to meet his family in person multiple times. His family would fly out. There'd be different sides of him flying out, but I got to meet them a few times and meet mom and meet dad, and got to actually spend time with dad during our practice a few times, and just a really, really great family. He's got great support behind him, and yeah, no one should be talking bad about Lars Woodby. Definitely as a person, not at all. He's done a really great job. Definitely, if you guys know much about him, what he posts, he's a big guy with leadership and clubs inside of the program. Like y'all said, graduates in 3 years.
Karlos, I got a question for you.
Listen.
Okay? All right, so I saw it somewhere. Someone compared him to Myron Rolle, and said that Myron was a bust. But they shared the same thing, where they were both freshman All-American, but they also had a strong focus academically. So what do you say to people who would even say
these are two different human beings? These are two different human beings. Yep. I know Myron Rolle on a very personal level. I trained with Myron Rolle side by side when he trained at Coach Tom Shaw before he went to the NFL. So Myron's main focus always was a student athlete.
Yeah,
like you know what I'm saying. And
I
don't know would be like that. I know he is in the community a lot, just like Myron was. I know he's graduated in 3 years. I know he's always had been an academic All-American since he's been here, just like Myron was. But his football IQ and the way he approached the game was way different than Myron was a Rhodes Scholar before he was a football player. Like, you get what I'm saying? So the mentality and the approach was different. So would be leaving. It's hard.
Is it fair to call him a bust though? No.
No. He honestly, him leaving it bothers me more. It bothers me more than Marvin standing around for the optics, because that kid is the epitome of what optics should look like. Like he is the epitome of what you want your graduate like a graduating student to look like. He's going to be drafted, graduate in 3 years. He can take whatever he wants. So he can start on his master's degree the very next year. So he can start on another bachelor's. Like, that's what should be staying around for the program. You get what I'm saying? Like, I haven't seen, like, I don't know if Marvin graduated yet or not. I'm not saying he didn't, but, like, you know what I'm saying? We know that Woodby has graduated in 3 years. We know that he's been an academic All-American since he's been here. We know he's been outreach in the community. We know he's been a face of Florida State since he's been here. Just like, you know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. But as far as the football aspect goes, his approach to the game is different. He wants to go to the NFL. His passion is to be a successful football player. Getting the degree and being successful in the community is a part of his personality. This is who he is. He's a leader. That's not going to stop him. That's just a part of what his parents bred and instilled in him. Just like Myron's parents bred and instilled in him to go to school to be a student first, Myron, because that's what we did. Like, we got our education. Education is going to drive us forward. Football, you're going to use football as a, like a stepping stone to get your education. Woodby, you're going to get your education, but we love football. Your dream is to go to the NFL, so achieve your dream. Know what I'm saying? Get your education because it's going to be free, but hey, like, know what I'm saying? Go achieve your dream. But his parents are great people. They raised a great young man. So him reaching out in the community, wanting to give back to the young kids in the community and the teenagers here in Tallahassee and talking to the football teams here and stuff like that, that's instilled in him. So it's just different. You got two different human beings.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing. I think it's a great thing.
He's going to be missed. He's really going to be missed here. As a face of this program, he's going to be missed.
Offensive lineman Andrew Baselli also intends, or I think it's per report, but he intends on transferring out from Florida State University. He's been kind of in and out at Florida State, it feels like.
Who cares? Next.
You don't care about the depth of offensive line?
Was it really depth?
He was a name. He was not depth. He was a name.
How many snaps he had this year, Nate?
That again?
12.
How many snaps he had this year?
How many what?
Snaps. How many snaps he take this year?
Who cares?
Okay.
I just had to put on the docket.
The numbers don't lie. Nate said he doesn't care.
I mean,
He didn't even make the list.
It's not a loss, man. It's not a loss. I don't think that, the few times he played, I don't think that it's a loss for the program.
Okay.
Damien, this is a good one here. This is a the conversation is going to start getting a little bit better. This is a good one because I think there's a lot to talk about here.
Yeah.
Florida State running back LaDamian Webb intends on opting out for the remainder of the season. Mike Norvell said that he intends on returning in January. Karlos, we'll take it to you first. Obviously, LaDamian Webb, I thought we talked about on here really early on the season. By far, I think the best back right now, producing-wise for FSU with the experience he has. What is your take on him opting out for the rest of the season now that Florida State has 2 more games left on the dock?
I wrote 9, and I told 9, hey, I like the way you play. I appreciate your approach to the game. You know what I'm saying? I have a lot of respect for you. Like, just wait, be patient. Carries are on the way. I was being dead ass serious. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, hey, you opting out, you coming back. You being the lead guy. Like, you honestly saying, hey, bro, I'm just not going to go out there and get hurt because I know the work I'm going to put in. Obviously, I put in enough work for you guys to make me the starting back, but I'm not going to continue to go out there and play some teams and get COVID or get sick or get injured and not be able to play in the spring. When I have an opportunity to come in the spring, play a full spring, get a full summer, get a full fall camp, I mean, I'm just not going to take the risk of sitting out a spring and then getting a half a summer and then coming in a camp and being behind like 2 football periods, quote unquote. Like, who wants to take that chance? I understand it. I mean, I think we all sat here on it and we talked about it. He's proven enough to be the starting back. I think 0, I think 9 have opportunity to get to compete for that second spot. You have 2 more games to establish yourself as. I mean, so I'm cool with it. I'm okay with it. He's coming back. He's pulling the vet move, in my opinion. I'm okay with it. I mean, he just doesn't want to get hurt. A lot of guys are doing it. I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with it.
What would you?
He's committing to us. He's saying, "Hey, man, I just don't want to continue to deal with the COVID stuff right now and getting hurt. So I'm going to opt out the rest of the season, but I'm going to come back in the spring prepared to play." Okay, cool. What's wrong with that?
Mm-hmm. What would you say is the difference between him and Marvin Wilson opting out?
We don't have Marvin for another year.
So just give it for Marvin to get ready for NFL.
Okay, that was my whole issue. Like, we don't have Marvin for another season. Like, yeah, Marvin, you're rooting on guys, but like, are you really rooting them on? Are you really here for it? Like, who really knows? Like, so it's different. Like, I'm taking some time because I really don't want to deal with COVID stuff. I'm coming back in the spring. I'm going to prepare to go compete and go win the ACC. I mean, I'm going to go win games. It's different. We don't have Marvin for another season. Marvin's not thinking about coming back. Marvin's gone. Like, Marvin's going to the NFL. He knows that.
But yeah, takes on Webb being out for the rest of the season, opting out. Because I have another thing to bring up with this.
Hey, I want to say something about Webb real quick. I'm not as sure as Karlos is that he's coming back. Because while Norvell says, yeah, I expect him to come back in January, there's still some feeling that with how I think Dustin said it perfectly before he came on, how homesick he is. And I don't think that it's 100% that he's coming back yet.
He did tweet about – I was going to bring it up real quick in case the listeners don't know. But Norvell talked about Webb and him intending to return in January. And then about 10 to 15 minutes later, LaDamian Webb, which he's done this before after press conferences, he tweeted saying on his terms practically, he said, "I know what's ahead and only I know," with a smiling face and whatever emoji that is.
Which is just kind of a weird thing to say.
It's an interesting thing.
Right after the press conference where the head coach says you're coming back.
Yeah, an interesting thing, which if you go back to whenever Florida State had their press conference with Thrasher, Ron DeSantis, the governor here in Florida, and the players, whenever they had the conference about COVID-19 and their protocols that they plan on doing, Coburn was also there, and Coburn was stating what they plan on doing and the protocols. There was a few players, including Webb, that sent out tweets just a little bit after that was going against what Coburn and the admin was saying. So this is not kind of Webb's first time of doing this kind of thing, which is interesting. So, eyes emoji. Is this where you put the eyes emoji?
Oh, we just lost Los.
And Los is already opting out. Los is opted out with 8. But yeah, it's something to keep an eye on for sure because I think he was certainly very talented, but I don't think this story is over yet.
I don't either.
But regardless, it makes Florida State's need for a running back in this class even more so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, true. I mean, if you think about it months ago, I mean, Kane LeBourne was supposed to be on this team this year. I mean, look at it now. It is so damn thin, and that's why you're seeing guys, like I said earlier, defenders are going to be playing some snaps on offense in 2 weeks. Guys are being moved around just to be able to fit the roles. Obviously, you're going to have some walk-ons playing, but Florida State is extremely thin at running back right now, and
they're thin everywhere.
yeah, that is true. Up next, man. Los is really going to miss out on this one if he doesn't get his connection back up. But defensive tackle Corey Durden is finally, I guess, official. If you're in the Discord, you would have known about this 2 weeks ago. But Corey Durden intends on entering the transfer portal. That is another one off of Nate Greer's list, which was also in the Discord back in October. I can't say it enough.
Who cares? Next.
You don't have any awesome things to say about Corey Durden, Austin?
So let me go first on Corey.
Go ahead, yeah.
So herein lies a guy who has the potential to be a really solid player, but is perfectly encapsulates someone who's a mental midget and someone who does nothing but kill the morale of the team. So for him to transfer out, that is addition by subtraction. Don't care if he hears it. Don't care if he gets upset by it. But this kid he's played hurt. Yeah, yada yada yada. But man, the guy's mentally weak. I don't think he's going to have what it takes to make it to the NFL. I just really question his total work ethic, and I just question him as a player. It's more disappointing knowing that he could be a solid player. I don't think he's anywhere close to a Marvin or anything like that. But at the same time, good riddance.
Just in time, Los. I don't think you can hear it. Go ahead, D-Lou. All right, Los, let's see. Los, perfect timing. You couldn't get out of this.
Sorry.
You couldn't opt. You're good. You couldn't opt out of this part, though. You can't opt out, all right?
What do you mean?
Don't opt out on me on this topic. Corey Durden, official. He's transferring, Los. First initial thoughts. I mean, what do you want to say about that? Just reaction.
He could declare for the draft.
Yeah, no.
He said that he wants a top 3 round grade, or he's coming back to college.
I should let my phone die right now. I should let this die. Yeah, she said unplug it right now. It's just like, okay, like I'm just okay, Nate.
Just be real, Los. Be real. I mean, we talked about the whole.
What was his numbers like this year? Does he have draftable numbers?
No.
Does he have transferable numbers? No. So I'll be honest with you. A school that needs the depth at D tackle, that's where he's going to go. He's going to play another backup role. And in near future, I see a late round pick, a day 3 pick to an undrafted pick because of the journey that he's been on. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is what number stop is this for you? Okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is the journey you've been on is kind of seeing it being that way. Unless you go to the next school and have this stellar breakout next year, I really don't see that happening with the numbers you put up this year. I don't see that happening. So I mean, I wish him the best of luck, but I don't know where.
I think that
you're going. I don't know where you're going.
I think that he's bought into some of the, I guess, thought or belief. Maybe talking to someone else or getting some bad advice, thinking that he can go elsewhere and just turn it on or
ball out, and he hasn't shown shit that he can do that.
I mean, I'll say this: he has some talent. Like if he bought in and he chiseled down instead of showing up every day looking like the Penguin from the Batman, I think he'd be a good player.
Oh,
but
if you can transfer in and ball out,
I think Austin's been waiting to say that for a while.
Under Odell, you couldn't ball out under Odell after transferring in. Odell recruited you, so he's seen something.
Mm-hmm.
Know what I'm saying? He's seen something, and you couldn't produce under Odell. It's not nah. Is you, my guy.
He's just one of those guys that got too happy wearing the Florida State jersey instead of making the Florida State jersey look good and making the program look good.
Yeah,
he was just happy to be out on the field, sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
his dream came true.
Yep.
Up until this year, I would have said that he kind of overperformed to his expectations coming out of high school because he was a 3-star guy coming out of high school, and a lot of people thought that his teammate that he signed with, Jalen Parks, would be even better than he was in college. But yeah, this year has just been a total bust for Durden. 7 tackles in seven games. I mean,
Came in way out of shape.
Yeah, that's always been kind of a
But
problem.
and talking all offseason how he's been working and grinding. He comes in like 5 pounds overweight.
See, buddy, I ain't gonna lie. I've been there before, dog. You gotta. Hey, I've been there before. And listeners, I've been there before. You Buffalo fans know I've been there before. I thought bro, I came in just rat over, and that rat over is too much over, my guy. And you think that's gonna slide in college? They can't take nothing from you. I'm gonna punish you. They're gonna force you to lose weight. NFL, no, we're not gonna force you. We're just gonna take it out of your pocket. Yeah, that's different, my man. We're gonna punish you that way. You gotta. I mean,
did you feel it in the game though? Because like with the Bills, did you feel it like that weight on you?
I didn't touch bro. I did not touch the field if I wasn't in game shape. What are you talking about?
What they tell you what to do? What they weigh you and then what? What happened?
You weigh in each week, man. You get fined so much per pound. Yet you're overweight.
Damn.
It's a business, my guy. I didn't get fined. I've never been fined during season. I've been fined coming into training camp. Coming into my second season. I was misbehaving all off season, bro. That was right after my rookie year, and I didn't take that shit as serious as I should have. But I mean, lessons learned. But no, I'm just for him. If you're doing that right now in college because you're not being like punished, like there's no real punishment, you don't really feel that because you're going to be forced to lose the weight anyway. When you get to the next level, man, it's a grown man business. I'm just going to hurt you where a grown man hurt at. I'm just going to take your pocket from you. Like you worked this hard to get there. I'm just going to take it right back from you. And so, I mean, he has to learn that lesson now. And that's a part of where you're going to transfer to. These are things that coaches call and ask about. They're not just this is, I mean, it's like trading livestock now.
Look, this reminded me of someone in the YouTube chat right now reminded me. He did make a tweet that he has to leave. This is something that Durden has done, but he tweeted saying that he's looking for an SEC team to take him.
No.
SEC only.
Just put it out there. Put it out there. This kid wants to go to Florida. He's already said that he wants to be closer to home so he can be a father. What school is closest to Newberry? Florida.
He's going to walk on there.
I don't know if he's been listening to Hove or Hove giving us
Austin throwing
shots.
Man. Austin's unloading. It's basketball season, so he's safe. He's unloading now.
I'm just tired of him. I don't want to talk about him anymore.
So, but give me that take. Going to a rival, and that's not. I mean, we'll probably discuss it here probably in a few weeks, Nate. But there's another one that has intentions on going to Florida.
Yeah. Darius Cummins did it. When I was at Florida State, Darius Cummins was from Astronaut over there over there on that side, and he went from Florida State. He went to after Timmy came in, he had no chance of playing. He went to Florida.
Good luck.
He went to Florida, and then the very next year they came to Tallahassee and they beat us here. My sophomore year, they beat us here, and he was juiced, and we beat. And then he transferred that year. And then the very next year we beat him in the swamp. Beat the piss out of him in the swamp. I mean, we put a mud hole in him. It was embarrassing, but it was good times.
Loved watching.
I hope he does. I hope he goes to Florida and rides to Pine. He's not going to play.
Yep.
I mean, moving close to home and being a dad, I think that's the number one idea. I think that's what you should do. But you're going to Florida. I think what I don't want to see is when we get ready to play them and he does transfer home, you be extra juiced about playing Florida State. I'm going to put on for the city one time like they didn't. No, bro. You transferred in and you did not perform well here. Okay, my man, don't act like you didn't have a fair shot or you got mistreated or no wild stuff. No, you just underperformed. So I wish
he had every shot too. He had every shot.
Yes, I wish you
every
the best.
shot.
I hope you go fine. I hope you get to go home. I hope you get to go transfer. I hope it happens for you. But I just don't hope that when it comes to playing Florida State, you try to act like you were mistreated or you wasn't given a fair shake here to perform because you were. You just underperformed.
And we've talked with multiple guys in here that play defensive line for Odell Higgins, and he doesn't really switch up much. It's the same thing every year. And obviously, we've seen on the field that Durden's been given multiple chances, lots of chances, and it just wasn't taken.
Remember the video of him earlier the year hitting the sled after one game where he was just played like shit? I think we talked about it here, just how sloppy and careless he was. Odell's yelling at him, trying to coach him up, and just his form and his effort was just ass. Huh?
Is that love? He got in someone's face. Odell did in a practice video early on during camp. I don't know if that was.
We also watched the Miami tight end put Durden on his back on that 4th and 1. So
after talking shit,
it happened to J-Rob to Louisville. It was bad. Bad.
Last one here for football, and this is a big discussion, obviously, as of today. This is something that we've been hearing about for a couple of days now. Former UCF quarterback star has officially entered the transfer portal, but it seems like Florida State might just be in the mix for the Cat. If you guys were in our Discord earlier today, we've laid down the details in there, so you guys kind of already know if you're listening from our Patreon. But McKenzie Milton has entered the transfer portal. First off, would you guys take him in Tallahassee right now?
Yes.
I'm going to say no, just because, he's coming off such a horrific knee injury that I don't know if he can play football. Practice reports are practice reports, and he's a great locker room guy, and that's something we need. But can he actually play on a football field if we need him to? That's something that I don't think anybody really knows the answer to. It's kind of like with what Alex Smith
is playing football.
Yeah, but it took him what? 2.5, 3 years?
When the last time this kid played football?
It's 2018.
Yeah, end of 18. Wasn't it the last game?
It's 3 years.
I'm just saying. We'll see.
This is a kid too. He's younger. Probably more athletic. Running around wise. Alex Smith was a scrambler a little bit. He had some real athleticism.
You can also compare it to Teddy.
Yeah, true.
Teddy Bridgewater.
True.
Yeah.
So I'm saying I'm with Nate. I'm giving him a fair shake. Hey, you want to come to Florida State and come compete? I'm cool. We just lost a big 5-star. We just lost a big quarterback in our class. He's a cowbell. This guy says I'm leaving where I was a winner at when we were top in the country, and I took an injury and another guy took the helm. I can't help that.
Let me rephrase my no. I'm not going to tell him no if he wants to come to Tallahassee, but I'm not going to go out and chase him if he's leading somewhere else.
Why not? That's what I want to know. Why not chase him? Why not go get a quarterback that's proven that he
can win in college?
And lead a winner?
I get what you're saying, but you also have to understand the medical side. Until they see those medical reports and he gets in the program, that's just something I would personally take.
He's been cleared and been practicing and running the UCF scout team. So he's been practicing, and he's been playing in practice. So
he's not taking any shots to his knee.
So you could compare this to Teddy Bridgewater. You can compare this to Teddy Bridgewater after he had his knee injury. He was cleared to play, but all the doctors, especially in Minnesota, were saying he's not going to be playing that much longer.
He's a millionaire.
This is just what I'm like. This is where
I get what you're saying. I get it. Austin, I totally understand. Don't go chase something that's not 100% guaranteed. No, I'm saying go get your money's worth for the milk. I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I get what you. I agree. I agree with that. But if bruh say, "Hey man, I'm thinking about if he says, "Hey, I'm thinking about giving Tallahassee a shake because I want to stay in the state of Florida."
Yeah, then for sure.
I'm gonna go get. Hey, Florida State, send me. I'll go get Cuz.
Los is on the way to go get Milton.
If you want him,
Los is going to get him.
I'll go get him. I'll be right there in Orlando. Hey, come on, bro.
Talk about culture and talk about winning.
Come show all the ladies that are here. Sorry.
Yeah, this guy won a mythical national championship. Okay, two-time conference player of the year. Won the Peach Bowl. Most passing touchdowns in UCF season. Most passing yards in his season. this guy, R.G. Griffin Award winner, so this guy's proven that he can win. And what we talked about a lot on this podcast this year is leadership on this team. While it still remains to be seen about what he could bring to the team on the field, here's a guy that could, push a Chuba Purdy, push a Jordan Travis, and make those guys better. Karlos has said it many times. Practices were so competitive back then. When they won the national title, you need to bring competition to this team. And for me, here's a guy who's produced, and by all accounts, what everyone says at UCF is that he's 100%. I think if you look at the transfer portal where Florida State has to go, that might be the best option that's going to be out there. We don't know how it's going to look here in another 2 to 3 weeks when football is officially over. But if that guy hits the portal and he's a legit option, I think that you necessarily don't have to take him, but here's a guy who's going to lift the floor at that position where they need as much talent as they can get and also challenge the younger guys. So I think it's a win-win situation.
There was a lot of discussion the week of their matchup with USF that Milton was actually going to play that game, which was actually pretty interesting. A lot of the fan base there in Orlando was rooting for it. But going back –
And then he didn't play.
And then he didn't play. And guess what happens the next week?
That's the only reason I had that game on.
I know, right? But the funny thing is, though, we were hearing things about Milton that whole week. And now, whenever he doesn't see a snap on this last Saturday, he enters the transfer portal. What we've been hearing is that he does want to stay in Florida. There's already been contact in between him and other universities here.
Well, he's not going to Miami because King is staying.
Yeah, that's something
he's not going. He's not going to Florida because Aaron Jones is sitting down there.
So if you look at Nebraska, with Scott Frost, that makes sense because he played for him. But Nebraska also has 2 quarterbacks that Scott Frost has brought in.
It's fucking Nebraska. Just say that, Nate. It's in Nebraska.
Yes,
it's
I was about to say it's fucking Nebraska, and this kid's from Hawaii and wants to apparently stay in Florida. So
yeah. He's a single guy too.
See how it unfolds.
Los, he's a single guy. He's probably already did what he needed to do off the field in Orlando. UCF has great amount of different talents off the field, I will say, Los. But when you come to Tallahassee, there's a different breed here. Let's all be honest. There is a different breed. I think all Dilly needs to do is maybe show him a few things that goes on outside of – campus life. Just show them the campus life. Show them a little bit of the campus life. Did they show you the campus life when you visited, Karlos? They take you a little bit over to.
My brother was here, so I was up here visiting here since I was a sophomore in high school.
You met your lady. You met your lady in Tallahassee, didn't you?
Mm-hmm, yeah, I met my wife when I was here. My wife leased my apartment to me.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Free
rent, baby.
I know she's staring your ass down right now.
Glad met me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm all for it. I will not say no. Obviously, I do. I'm still taking Austin's, I'll just say advice here from him, but his health advice that he's given us, Dr. Austin. For sure. Dr. Austin. I do think it's definitely a huge, almost a traumatic leg injury, pretty much. And he's gone through multiple surgeries. But, the positive sign out of this, the guy was cleared to play. He could have played against USF, didn't get a snap. He wants to transfer. He knows what he's doing. He's a very, very, very talented quarterback. I think he is a kind of like a prototype of Jordan Travis, but he is more of a thrower than a runner, but he has the running skills, if that makes any kind of sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just has really good pocket awareness, great arm. That's something Florida State has been lacking, obviously, the last 2-3 years. Accuracy.
Can I note something, guys?
I think just like a smart quarterback, and that's something Florida State's been big time lacking.
If I'm willing to allow somebody to transfer in that's been a winner somewhere else, because he's going to come in and want a new and fresh start. And I think him being older than a lot of the guys, he's going to automatically feel the need to can take the helm, but in a respectable way of like gaining the respect of the guys, putting the extra work in, showing that he has come back from an injury. He's transferring. Like it's already a lot of uphills he has already go do. And even though compete, he has to win that locker room over anyway. Do you want to go outside of a state that where you're not comfortable? Like I say go get this kid because you have the best chance of making him feel like he's already at home. You get what I'm saying? Like you have a good chance of building a great coach and player relationship because he's going to feel already at home. I mean, there's a lot of variables here where you can create. I mean, you can create a monster in my mind. I mean, if you want somebody to really control your offenses, if that's something that if that's the route that we want to take. I mean, I'm just saying. But I mean, I'm willing to open up to the locker room because he's a leader, he's a winner, he's been there, he's done it before, he's proven that. I mean, it's something that we don't even have in that locker room right now at all. And you want that at quarterback. You're not gonna go get in a high school kid. You're just not.
If it's going to be in my last season, I probably don't want my family members having to go and travel up to Nebraska for games for my senior year.
Nope.
I would rather them probably drive a few hours to come watch me in Doak Campbell Stadium. That's just me, though. I mean,
you don't want your family to come. You don't want your family to come check out the cornfield.
That's something that has never been on my mindset ever in my entire life. That's like actually something I think I want to be tortured. If I'm going to be tortured, send me to a cornfield in Nebraska. I just think the Nebraska talk's all about Scott Frost, and it seems like he's doing a phenomenal job. He's doing a phenomenal job in Nebraska, too.
Yeah, Florida State can't say anything, but Nebraska has been shit. Okay? Scott Frost is falling on his face, so. I mean, let's call it what it is. It's been ugly.
Yeah,
it's been frosty up there.
Yeah, he's about to freeze to death. But
it is. It's been pretty frosty up there for him. Like,
yeah. So even if Milton's 80, 90%, that's probably better than what you have right now, or what you've had in the past 3 years starting. I think he's just what you get out of him as a smart quarterback, and obviously the attributes of his physical. Things he brings to the table is great. So we'll see. That's something to keep an eye on the next couple of weeks. We'll see if his decision is kind of quicker than most. It seems like definitely quarterbacks, they want to kind of get their thing figured out pretty early on. So we'll see. Basketball. That's it for football. Let's jump into basketball. Florida State. Man, oh man, Florida State, Leonard Hamilton, their season opener against UNF was last night in the Tuck. Florida State takes care of business easily against North Florida, 86-58. Scotty Barnes is already going across the country nationally with his highlight dunk. There's just all good things to talk about. So let's jump into it, Austin. How did you feel after that game and first initial take, first game of the season?
I felt pretty good because you were in the back cave for a little bit after. It was happy to talk about a Florida State win in which they pretty much dominated from start to finish. There was a couple stretches where they looked pretty sloppy, especially offensively. The second half, UNF started making some threes, so it made it seem closer, but the lead never got below 11 after the first 5 minutes of the game. I was really impressed. That obviously there's some offensive things that are going to have to be worked out, but that's natural when you're breaking in a true freshman point guard after a 4-year senior leaves. That was as good as Trent Forrest. The defense was phenomenal, especially in the first half. Guys were flying all over the court. The communication was great. The switches were great. Even when the big switched on the perimeter like Balshik Koprivica, his feet were quick and he was keeping up with those smaller guys for UNF. I was impressed. I mean, obviously it's one game, and now they have a week to prepare for Indiana. Was I the only one that watched the whole thing? I know Dustin.
I watched the whole. I was in and out.
I watched probably about 15, or not 15, just about all of it except for like
the second half.
5 minutes in the second half. No, I watched the end stretch. Whenever they started coming back, I put it back on because I was like, "What's happening?"
Yeah. I watched it all, Austin. Like I said, I've been doing my homework, and I'm now a basketball guy, so I watched all of it.
It's nice to not just be able to talk to myself.
I'm not in the stadium. I'm not watching it. I'm sorry.
I was going to ask you, Los, since the Florida State Duke game got rescheduled to the 12th, they played the same day that Florida State plays Florida in basketball. Which one are you going to watch?
Football or basketball?
I'd rather watch basketball, honestly. I'd rather watch it in person. I've always been that way. I love watching Florida State basketball, but I'd rather watch it inside the tuck. I'd rather watch it in person live.
That's
it's pretty, man. It's pretty lit, man. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, it's gone up
really
a lot.
I really love watching it in there.
It is very entertaining in person.
And even though they only had 25% capacity last night, like you could hear the you could hear the fans on the TV. I was pretty impressed.
They did a good job, most certainly. Dustin, your first initial thoughts from that game last night?
Like Austin said, I thought there was some sloppiness just because this was the first game for Florida State. They didn't get to play any exhibitions coming into this one, and they were playing against a North Florida team that already played 3 games entering last night. And really it felt like Leonard Hamilton treated this one like an exhibition. He played every scholarship player on the roster. He threw a ton of different lineups out there, a bunch of different looks with a bunch of different players. You had what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 10 guys played double-digit minutes. The lowest any scholarship player played was 7 minutes. So everyone got ample time last night, and it felt like the coaching staff was just trying to see what they have moving into this next game against Indiana, which is going to be really tough for Florida State. But I was excited. I mean, you guys mentioned Scotty Barnes. I thought he was outside of his scoring, he was a little bit off with his shot. I thought he was overall excellent. And a guy that really impressed me was Wyatt Wilkes. He had 5 assists off the bench. He airballed his threes, but he's making some good passes off the bench, and it looks like he's really into the system at this point of his career.
Yeah, like you mentioned with Scotty, if you just take away the scoring aspect, he was elite throughout the entire game. His vision is something you don't see from a guy that's 6'9", is to handle someone you don't see, or see something you don't see from someone that's 6'9". He's got eyes on every side of his head, and he sees every angle. There was a couple times where I thought he was trying to force a pass, but I'd rather him take those chances and see what he can get away with at this level, because he was used to getting away with it at high school. Get it out of the way against UNF, so you're not getting it out of the way against Indiana or Florida. His defense was awesome. He was getting down in his stance immediately. He was pointing things out on defense. He was calling out switches, really communicating on defense, which is something you don't see from a true freshman ever, especially a true freshman point guard in his first game. I thought he was excellent on the defensive end, even though he only ended up with – did he end up with a steal? I think he had a block.
He actually had –
he didn't have a steal.
He had nothing.
But he was one of those, like, he was switching on everything, and he was on top of it. There was a couple times he got beat off the dribble. I mean, that happens with everybody. No one's ever perfect getting beat off the dribble throughout a game. But besides that, I was really pleased with him. I was really pleased with MJ Walker. 17 points and 8 shots. That's huge. He was that guy where when they needed a shot to stop a run, MJ wouldn't hit a shot. You've seen him do things in this game that you've never seen him do in his first 3 years. Like he sealed in the post. Oh, my God, I was so happy when he did that. MJ Walker sealing in the post is my favorite moment of the season, even if we win a national championship. He just hit timely shots. He got to the free throw line. I thought ball show looked really good. They ran a lot of great sets for him to get him right under the rim. Yeah, he only went 4 of 8. He missed a couple easy bunnies there, but I think him just getting in those spots, he's going to make it. He's one of the most talented offensive bigs we've had under Coach Hamilton. I don't think that's a stretch. On the contrary, I was very disappointed by Wyatt. Your one goal is to hit shots, and you suck.
I said he airballed. I was happy with his passing.
Oh no, his offensive IQ is super underrated. I've been saying that all offseason, but you're there to hit 3-pointers.
How long before Calhoun is in the starting lineup?
I don't think he will. I think Polite's the perfect guy to finish out the starting lineup, just because he brings that defensive aspect. I don't think Calhoun has yet. I loved Calhoun last night. You could just tell he's got a different level offensively. He's a super fluid athlete. He looks more athletic than he did at JUCO last year.
Yeah, I know. He looks quick.
He's such a long strider. I wasn't expecting that. And then his shot's just consistent. It's not like with PJ where depending on where he shot from is a little bit different. It's the same shot every single time. That's huge for a guy that, he was 2 of 4 from 3 last night. I wouldn't be surprised if, he takes 4 to 5 threes a game coming off the bench. I don't think he starts, but I wouldn't be surprised if, instead of 15 minutes, he starts seeing 20, 25 minutes a game.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he sees starter minutes, but maybe doesn't start.
Yeah, it'll be like the last few 6 months we've had with Fiondu and Patrick Williams last year. He's going to be one of the most important players on this team. Another guy that's probably not going to get as much recognition as he should. Raekwon Gray was amazing last night, especially defensively. When he was not in the game, you could see that they weren't as good defensively, and you could see it in the advanced stats. He had a defensive rating of 54 or 56, which the average is 100, which means you allow 100 points per 100 possessions. He had 54, which is unreal. He ended up with 4 steals, a block. He was flying all over the court on the defensive side. And
I like that kid. I watched that kid play last year in person a couple times. I really do like that kid. Like his hustle. He has a lot of hustle. He cares. He wants to win. His effort shows that he wants to win.
And he's playing confidently. There were times last year, especially in conference play, when his shot wasn't falling, you could see he wasn't as confident. He didn't care. He was missing shots last night, but he was going at it on both ends of the floor, attacking the glass, attacking on defense. He was amazing last night.
Everywhere.
And then on the flip side, MJ put up an offensive rating of 196, which means he was scoring 196 points per 100 possessions. That's insane too. There's no way either of those two stats keep up throughout the season, but it's a good first sign for a first game when they haven't played in 9 months.
And for MJ, that's usually the case for him, is that doesn't happen until a few months into the season, right, Austin? I mean, he's a guy that usually it takes a little while for him to kind of heat up.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. He's a rhythm guy. He always has been. When he's in rhythm, he's really hard to stop. But you could see a little bit later in conference play last year that he was getting more consistent game through game. He's starting out with a 17-point, 4-rebound game. I don't think he's going to score 17 every game, but 13 to 14 a game, I'd be really happy with that from him.
His threes were gorgeous.
They were.
Going back to Raekwon Gray real quick, I thought he looked like he was in the best shape since he's been in Tallahassee last night. I mean, he looked really good.
He was quick too.
When he first came into Florida State, he had to redshirt that first year to really get in the shape needed to play college ball. And you can just see the improvements that he's made year by year with his conditioning. And that came to a full point to me last night. I was watching him. I was like, man, he really looks like he's in shape.
He could barely dunk when he first got on campus because he was so overweight. But you saw it in that dunk last night. He got off the floor with ease and had plenty of room to spare, which is something you didn't see when he was redshirting.
No, I'm up there with Dustin too. I agree.
Now I think he's now a guy you can rely on to play those big minutes. You're not going to worry about him tiring out as much as you would have before.
Yeah, and even if he does tire out, you've got Malik Osborne off the bench now, who does not run out of energy.
What are your thoughts on
bigs?
What are your thoughts on Austin, real quick?
I mean, he only played 8 minutes, and someone texted me earlier. He looked like Chris Kamaji out there, which can be good and bad.
Oh, on TV, yes.
He looked just like Kamaji. He's this tall, lanky guy that kind of didn't know what he was doing. Very long. He's massive.
Yeah.
But you could tell that he missed a lot of time. He didn't get to campus until like mid-September, then missed a lot of time with COVID quarantines and conditioning programs. He really didn't start practicing until 3-4 weeks ago. So he's still getting caught up. I think by the time we hit mid-January, I think he'll be a solid player for Florida State. The staff's been really impressed by him in the limited practices they've had. So I wasn't surprised that he played how he did. At least we got great play out of Balsha.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like in the meantime, while he comes along, you've got also Raekwon and Malik Osborne to fill the gap. So
yeah,
I don't think Florida State should be worried about their big rotation.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how Balsha plays against Indiana next week. Because it's one thing to do it against UNF, but next week you're going against one of the 3 or 4 best post players in the country, and Trace Jackson Davis at Indiana. That's going to be a real test for him. If he can hang up physically in that game, you're going to look for a really, really great season, not just from Balsha, but Florida State.
The Gardner-Webb game has now been rescheduled for December 21st. Would you rather have? I saw a lot of discussion on Twitter and the Discord. Would y'all rather have the game, this game happen before Indiana, or y'all fine just jumping from this last game last night to Indiana?
I'd rather have it Saturday, honestly. Just so you can get these guys back into gameplay or game motions, instead of you play one game and now you're off a week.
Yeah,
I'd rather have this one game where these guys are getting used to shooting in the gym again against a team that's not wearing garnet and gold.
True. I agree.
Yeah, like you said, I'd much rather be playing Gardner Webb right now because it gives this team another game to really get in sync with one another and the coaching staff to figure out which rotations are working the best moving into a game against a team that's going to be really tough. But at the same time, Florida State's motivated for revenge after what we saw last season in Assembly Hall, and I think they're going to be ready on Wednesday night. It's going to be a fight.
I agree. Are we previewing it now, or are we going to do a separate podcast for that?
Probably a separate one for that game. Yeah, we'll probably do something separate on that one for sure. Just to end off, too, after that basketball segment, just to end it off, just a quick question from you guys. Obviously, for Florida State football side of things, their next two games are against Duke and Wake Forest. We'll be back on here on at least Thursday to preview the Duke game. But real quick from you guys, record predictions to end off the season between Duke and Wake Forest. What are y'all's picks on that? Does Florida State go 2-0, 1-1, 0-2, 1-1? What are you guys' predictions on that?
Well, since everyone's being shy, 0-2.
Oh, well, there's Funzy Austin. Austin, also, real quick, what, is that like a man behind you? What is going on?
It's an album cover.
You got guys on your walls and stuff?
It's an album. It's a signed album cover. Relax.
Where's the signature? Can someone please find that?
It's hard to see it because it's like right here on the black part.
Don't rub his beard. Don't do that.
Stop touching his face. Stop it. You could have just pointed. I don't ever want to be made fun of that I have beer. Delicious beer, I should say, Los, before you say anything.
The reason I had to change my style, I was, that used to be my background, the home of the Seminoles.
I know, everybody's switching up everything. Yeah.
Well, I'm having surgery tomorrow, so I had to reorganize my entire room
geez.
so I could get out of bed.
Well, best of luck to Austin tomorrow. Has surgery. I
take it back. Rub his beard again for good luck.
Speedy recovery, my guy.
It shouldn't be too bad, honestly.
Hey, yes, we'll be here for you.
There'll be a ton of basketball content coming, trust me.
Sign me up, and I think all the fans are ready for it. But who wants to go next? Florida State versus Duke and Wake Forest. Initial record predictions for that.
1-1.
Okay, a little bit more optimistic here from Los. But wait, who they beat?
They beat Duke.
Yeah,
lose to those demon deacons.
Good. What do you got, Dustin?
I'm going 1-1 as well.
1-1. Okay.
I think Florida State is gonna edge it out against Duke, but we'll see. Maybe I'm just being too optimistic.
Was Nate talking, or could we not hear him?
I thought he has been saying some stuff, but I cannot hear him.
Oh no, the mic went out again.
He's been talking for like a little bit.
Oh no. Oh no.
I haven't heard Nate since basketball.
Put up. Oh, there he is. Oh. There we go. We hear him. Oh, no, Andy's gone.
Just hold it up. Just hold it up.
Just put up the hands for us.
You there?
There we go. We hear you. Say it quick.
He said 1-1.
I heard 1-1.
He said 1-1. It just went out.
I think Hear the Spear, we got to get sponsors. We got to get some new mics in here. We might need to send him a care package.
Logan?
I know. We got to get that going. But yeah, that's all. I just want to ask that real quick. I'm going to go. Oh God, I'm gonna go 1-1 too. Optimism is always key. Half glass full is my way.
Fickle thing.
It's sad when 1-1 is optimism.
I know, and it's against Wake Forest too that I'm predicting.
Duke and Wake Forest. We're saying 1-1. That's optimism.
Better.
Yeah, I can hear you now, Nate.
1-1.
1-1. Who's it again?
Beat Duke, lose to Wake.
Yeah.
Fun
we
time.
all
We're
agree
gonna beat
there.
Duke. We're gonna lose to Wake. Wake's gonna beat us.
2 straight years of losing a Wake. What have we come to?
And I'll say
I lost to Wake one time. It's all right, man. It's just
It is not all right. It is Wake Forest.
not.
I lost to NC State 16-17, man.
See,
Man, fuck that game, man.
I don't want to talk about the game, but at least NC State has a good player here and there.
Jay Garcia has decommitted.
I'm saying
from
here
USC.
and there. Like they've had players in the past. I'm not saying right now.
True.
Breaking news from our YouTube comments. Jay Garcia has decommitted from USC
Have fun at
Oh,
Miami.
he going to Miami. Yeah.
Have fun at Miami.
What does that do for Milton now? What does that do for Milton? That just continues to.
He can go back to
maybe get
USC,
Florida
close to
State.
Hawaii.
Or who?
What if he just goes?
Milton now goes. Now you're saying Milton goes to USC.
What if he just goes to Idaho?
Or how about Jake Garcia has bust written all over him. Okay. He's got what, 4 or 5 high schools now as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Go to Miami.
I went to 4 or 5 high schools.
Well,
Look where you at.
look at you.
He also spent 7 years in college.
Damn.
It was a long journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super duper.
And I'm actually proud, everybody. Let's give some applause for Nate and Karlos going through this whole episode with no
conflicts.
No conflicts. No.
That makes it boring, though.
It does.
We
Make
talking about me
pretty
and Nate
boring.
are really good friends. Like I don't know why you put us two against each other like we're enemies.
Don't even start.
I agree. I just see Nate's point of view sometimes. Sometimes Nate be talking outside of his neck.
That's what happens, you know.
Nate be talking wild as hell.
Oh man, Jesus
Marvin.
Christ. Oh God, let's not bring it back up again.
Optics.
The optics. All right, we got to end it off. I'm just fueling the fire here for no reason. But thank you guys so much for listening. Like Austin's been saying, the basketball coverage is going to start amping up even more. He's been in the back caves. That was fun to listen to his instant reaction there inside of our Discord, guys. I think we had about 15 to 20 new Patreon members join in the last 24 to 48 hours. Definitely go check it out if you want insider news and nugget stuff that we talk about on here. We've already shared with our Discord or our Patreon members probably about a week ago. So don't miss out. Don't be the last to know. Be the first to know. Don't be last like War Chant. But make sure you go check that out. Patreon.com/Noel Game Day. As always, you can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, Spotify. If you're on any of those platforms, make sure on the app or wherever you're at, hit the subscribe button so then it will alert you every time we release a new episode. We'll be back here on Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern next week to preview Florida State versus Duke, their last home game of the season. And a lot of the guys here, except for Austin, predicted Florida State to win that game. So if we're wrong on that, then we should definitely cancel this show. So everybody have a great rest of y'all's week. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you guys next week. See ya.
Same color t-shirt. Mama told me not to sell.